Hey guys, thank you so much for coming to my channel. If you haven't yet before, thank you for coming back. And if this is your first time, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Nicole and I am a Scrum Master. On today's topic, we're going to talk about retrospective and how to facilitate your retrospective. So what really is a retrospective? A sprint retrospective is actually one of the Scrum ceremony. There are 4 Scrum ceremonies. You have your sprint planning, your daily stand-up, your sprint review, and your retrospective. Your retrospective happens on the last day of your sprint. So on the last of the sprint, you're going to have 2 meetings. You're going to have your sprint review, and after your sprint review meeting, you're then going to go into your sprint retrospective. So who are your participants for your retrospective meeting? The participants are the Scrum Master, the product owner, and the entire development team members. So when you schedule your meeting, please do make sure that you include the Scrum Master, the product owner, and then the entire development team members to your retrospective meetings. For a 2-week sprint, I actually schedule my retrospective for 1 hour. It has been a good amount of time. So you want to definitely check with your team to see how much time they have been using for the retrospective and make sure you're maintaining that time box. So it's actually good when you start a new team. You want to make sure that they have a working agreement, and during the working agreement, you want to see how long they have been scheduling their meetings. And this also just depends, right? Depend on the amount of people on your team and how much work the team is doing every iteration. So just make sure that if your team is really big, if they have a lot of people on the team, a lot of work, 1 hour might not be enough, right? So just double check and see how long they have been doing. But however, if you do have a small amount of people in your team, maybe 1 hour might just be enough. So talk to your team and see how long they have been doing the meetings and make sure you're maintaining that time box. So what is the whole purpose of having a retrospective? The whole purpose of having a retrospective is pretty much for your entire team to come together, right? To reflect on how the iteration went and identify any areas that they want to improve on, then come up with an action items for continuous improvement. So the entire team pretty much come together to see how the sprint went and decide what changes that they want to make moving forward. So that way they can keep working together so they can keep achieving their goals on time. When you're scheduling your retrospective meeting, please do make sure you include an agenda. It's very important to always have an agenda in the meeting when you're scheduling the meeting. So you want your people, the people that are coming to the meeting, you want them to have an understanding what the meeting is all about, right? The agenda that I normally will put in my retrospective is what went well, what needs improvement, and action items. Just make sure that you include an agenda when you are setting up or scheduling your retrospective meeting. So there are different tools that you can use for your retrospective. Check with the company and see what type of tool they actually are using for their retrospective, and make sure that you're using the same tool, because some companies really don't like to use different type of tools other than what their company is providing to you. I actually have used, or currently I'm actually using Idea Board for running my retrospective. So just please verify with your team to see what they're currently using for the retrospective, what type of tools, and make sure that you get access to that tool. So when we get to our retrospective meeting, there are actually 5 stages of conducting your retro. But before I go into those 5 stages, when we join the meeting, the first thing that I do is I like to greet everyone. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining our retrospective meeting today. Today's the last day of our sprint, and I just want to first of all thank each and every one of you for all your effort and for successfully completing the sprint. I like to thank my team member for their effort. I like them to know that their work is unnoticed. I like to just appreciate their effort, and especially if they did a really good demo, got really good feedbacks, I like to really let them know and appreciate their work, right? So the 5 stages of conducting your retro. When you get into your retrospective, the first thing I do is setting the stage. What do I really mean by setting the stage? Setting the stage is pretty much for you to just like get your team member to engage, get them to participate in the meeting. So the one thing I do with setting the stage is to do an icebreaker. I love icebreakers because it gets my team member to communicate, it gets them to speak up, it gets everyone to engage. One of the icebreakers that I actually like to do, I like to talk about cars. I like to ask questions about maybe their favorite vacation spots. So get to know your team to understand what type of things that they like doing before you're using any type of an icebreaker doing your retrospective. The reason I'm saying this is because people are very sensitive, right? You don't want to say a certain topic where it's going to be offensive to someone. So make sure when you join a new team to have a one-on-one meeting with each and every one of your team members to get to know them and to also get to understand what things they like, right? During your one-on-one, you can ask a few questions just to kind of sense what they like and what they don't like. So when you're in your retro, you want to avoid anything that is going to be very sensitive to your team members. So one of the icebreakers that I like to do is I'll just ask the team member, hey guys, if you were to go on a vacation, where would you go and why? So people will just go ahead and start naming their favorite vacation spots that they would love to go, or places that they have already visited before in the past. They'll just go ahead and name that. Another icebreaker that I like to do with my team is, if you were to play in the Olympic, what sport would it be and why? People love sports. A lot of people can relate to sports, right? So I like to use those type of icebreaker. It gets them to engage. It gets them to speak up. Once your team members start speaking up in the beginning of the meeting, high chances are they're going to speak up throughout the meeting. So I always set the stage by going through icebreakers with my team members. Once I'm done with my icebreaker, I will go now into gathering data, which is the next stage of your conducting your retrospective. So what do I mean by gathering data? During your retrospective, your team members are going to be doing activities, right? During the retro, you want to set an activity for your team. I use this tool called Idea Board. So guys, check with your team to see what kind of tools that they have been using for their retrospective. Make sure you're using the same tool. You get access to the tool. Make sure you're using the same tool during your retro, because not every company lets you use outside tool. So just make sure you check and see what they're currently using for the retro. But currently I'm using Idea Board. I will go ahead and set my activities on the Idea Board. Usually the activity is what went well, what needs improvement, and action items. That's me gathering data, which is the second stage of conducting your retro. So I'll write those activities on the board, right? What went well, what needs improvement, and action items. And I'll explain it to the team members. Hey guys, I know you guys can see my screen right now because at this time you're sharing your screen. Do go ahead and answer these questions that you're seeing on my screen. What went well, what needs improvement, and action items. What are the things that you guys feel we are doing as a team that's going really, really well that we want to continue, want to keep doing? Please write everything down you think is going well so we can continue to do. And I'll tell them, all right, you guys take like 5 minutes to finish everything on what went well. Once you're done, we're going to go over to what needs improvement, right? And I explain it to them again. What are the things that you guys feel as a team that we're doing that we maybe need to improve on? If we do improve on these areas, things are going to be better for our team. Go ahead, take another 5 minutes and write all the things that you guys feel we need to improve on. Once you're done, then now I'm going now on the action items, which is, generating insight, which is the next stage of your retrospective, of conducting your retro. So I'm analyzing literally everything that they have just wrote on the what went well, what needs improvement, right? We're analyzing those things so we can now come up with an action item, which is the fourth stage of conducting your retrospective. You want to analyze everything that they wrote down so you guys can now come up with all the actionable items that you want to improve on, so that way we can follow up and make sure that those action items are being taken care of. One way for me to actually maintain my action item is usually during the retro, when we're writing our action items, we're assigning names next to the action items for whoever needs to follow up on or whoever needs to take care of those action items. I'm writing those names down because after my retro, I am going to now go ahead, email the team member with all the action items so that way we can follow up and improve on those things that they said they want to improve on. The last stage of conducting your retro is, you just pretty much wrap up, right? Just thank everybody for coming to the retro, thank them for participating in the retrospective meeting, and just appreciate them again for that effort. And that's pretty much it about conducting your retro. Remember, there are so many different ways of conducting your retro. I've also done this activity called stop doing, start doing, and continue doing. It's very similar to what went well, what needs improvement, and action items. Whatever works for you, make sure that you do that activities with your team. The whole goal is for you to help your team, so that way they can improve on the processes, they can improve the way they're working, so that way we can keep moving forward, we can keep achieving our goals on time and deliver the product to the business successfully. So guys, thank you so much for coming again to my channel. If you have any specific question, do go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget, you can email me at Nicole.agilepractitioner@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon.